Hello students. In the previous lecture, we have learned about parenchyma and collenchyma. In today's lecture, we'll learn about sclerenchyma and complex permanent tissue. Sclerenchyma is a dead tissue. Sclerenchymatous cells, they are dead at maturity. That means the young cells, when eventually they become old, they die. If we talk about a plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. On the other hand, the sclerenchymatous cells, along with the cellulose, it also contain lignin. Presence of lignin makes the cell impervious. Because lignin is impervious, that means it's impermeable. It neither allows the substance to enter the cell nor allow the substances to leave the cell. That means if any cell wall has deposition of lignin, there will be absolutely no exchange of water, gases or other substances. Just imagine a cell who is not receiving the nutrients, neither receiving water. What will happen to that cell? That cell eventually dies. So the same thing happens with these cells also. Cytoplasm after some time dies. When the cytoplasm dies, there is a central hollow space which is called as the lumen. Lignin not only makes the cell wall impermeable, it also gives tremendous strength to the cell. Sclerenchyma is of two types, fibers and scleretes. Fibers are long, spindle-shaped structures and they are found in xylem, phloem and the coconut husk. Scleretes on the other sides are irregularly lignified cells. In scleretes, we have to learn about brachyscleretes, which is the stone cell. And these stone cells, they are found in the pulp of guava, sapota and pear. These sclerenchymatous cells, they are present in the pulp to give strength to the pulp. If you eat these fruits, you may feel some kind of greeny texture inside these fruits. This is called as the grittiness. Sclerenchyma gives mechanical support to the plant and the tree. It helps in manufacture of the ropes and it gives strength to the pulp of fruits. It is located in the seed coat, pulp of pear as the gritty mass. It is also present in the veins of leaves, stem and root. Also present in the shells of the nuts. Sclerenchyma forms the elements of xylem and phloem. Now we'll study about the complex permanent tissue. Complex permanent tissue, they are the vascular tissue, also referred as the conducting tissues. In complex permanent tissues, we learn about xylem and phloem. The first one is xylem. The elements of xylem are tracheids, vessels, fibers and parenchyma. Tracheids are non-living, elongated with the pointed ends. Vessels are thick-walled, non-living, long and tubular cells. Fibers are thick-walled, sclerenchymatous cells and parenchyma, they are the living cells with the storage function. Amongst all these four elements, only parenchyma is a living cell, rest all three of them are dead. Tracheids and vessel, it helps in upward conduction of water. Fiber gives strength and parenchyma helps in storing food. See, xylem helps in upward conduction of water. But how is water able to rise up in the xylem? The water rises up in xylem against gravity because of these four forces: cohesive force, adhesive force, capillary force and the transpirational pull. These are the four forces that help in upward conduction of water inside xylem. Cohesive force means the force of attraction between two similar or the like molecules. So when two like molecules are attracted towards each other, it is cohesion. Adhesion means the force of attraction between two different or unlike molecules. So the attraction between two like is cohesive and two unlike or different is adhesion. Water molecules, they're attracted towards each other because of the cohesive force. On the other hand, water is also attracted towards the other substances, that is force of adhesion. So here cohesion is between the water molecule present inside the xylem vessel, and adhesion is between the water molecule and the wall of xylem. If you see the water that is coming out of the water bottle, it is being dropped inside the glass. So the water molecules come together because of the cohesive force. And if you see the water bottle, inside the water bottle you can see some droplets. So these droplets are because of the force of adhesion. The next force is the capillarity force or the capillary force. If you see this picture, the wider the tube, the lesser will be the height of the solution, and the narrower the tube, the more would be the height of the solution. Okay, so the narrower the diameter of the tube, higher will be the height of the water rising. The next force is the transpirational pull. What is transpiration? Transpiration is a loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant. So when transpiration happens, water is lost from the leaves and more water molecules are drawn up. This principle can be understood by this picture. There is a boy who has a glass full of some juice or some water. So what happens over here? The boy sucks the liquid. Because the boy is applying a suction pressure, the water rises up in the straw. So here the water present in the glass can be compared to the water present in the soil. Straw can be compared to the xylem vessel, and the suction applied by the boy can be compared to the transpirational pull. So these are the four forces that helps in easy upward conduction of water against the gravity. The next tissue is phloem. Phloem forms the bark of the tree and xylem forms the wood of the tree. Phloem is always on the outside and xylem is always inside. The food in the phloem is called as the phloem sap. That means the dissolved food which is transported from the leaf to the other parts of the plant or the tree. That dissolved food is called as the phloem sap. And the movement of the dissolved food in xylem is bidirectional. That means there is an upward conduction and there is a downward conduction also. Now why the food moves upwards? Just think about the new foliage leaves. They cannot perform photosynthesis. So who will provide them the food? The older leaves. That is why the flow of food in phloem, it is bidirectional. Do you know why xylem is considered as dead and phloem is considered as a living tissue? Because the transport in xylem does not require energy and the transport in phloem requires energy. So if energy is required, that means the cell in the phloem must be living to produce ATP. If the cells are able to produce ATP, then only they'll be able to spend it. That is why the phloem cells are alive for the conduction of dissolved food. Phloem has four elements: sieve elements, companion cell, fibers and parenchyma. Sieve elements, they are the sieve tubes. They are cylindrical, living and the end walls are perforated. These perforations are called as the sieve. The second one is the companion cell. Companion cells, they are the living cells that helps in loading and unloading the food. Now see sieve tubes over here, they are enucleated. They do not have a nucleus. On the other hand, companion cells, they do have presence of nucleus. Since the sieve tubes, they are enucleated, they cannot perform all the functions alone. So they depend on the companion cell for all its functions. Sieve tubes and companion cells, they are called as the sister cells because one single mother cell gives rise to both of these cells, sieve tubes and the companion cell. They live together and they also die together. If the sieve tube dies, the companion cell also dies. Okay, so these two elements, they work together. The next one is the phloem fiber. It is the only dead element in the phloem tissue. These are the dead cell for support. The sclerenchymatous fibers in phloem, they are called as the bast fibers. The last one is the phloem parenchyma, which is again used for storing the food. So here three elements are living, that is sieve elements, that is sieve tube, companion cell and phloem parenchyma, and only the phloem fibers are dead. Now we'll learn what is loading and unloading done by the companion cell. See, in this picture you can see a source cell, which is the leaf. Okay, so what does the leaf do? Leaf produces the food. So the produced food needs to be translocated to different parts of the plant. So who helps in translocation of the food? It is phloem. But how will the food reach the phloem vessel? How will the food reach the sieve tube? Only if it passes through the companion cell. Okay, so transfer of food from the source cell or the leaf is called as unloading. Once the food has reached inside the sieve tube or sieve cell, the food is finally transported to all the parts of the plant. Here you have the sink cell, which is the root, which cannot perform photosynthesis and requires the food. So the food from the source cell or the leaf goes to the companion cell. From the companion cell, it goes to the sieve tube or sieve cell. It passes through the phloem tubes or the sieve tubes and finally reaches the sink cell or any other cell which requires the food. This process is called as loading. So who helps the sieve tube for loading and unloading? It is the companion cell, since the food passes through the companion cell. Secondly, see, the sieve tubes, it is enucleated. It cannot produce energy. Okay, so from where will it get energy? It will get energy from the companion cell. Companion cell helps the sieve tubes in many functions apart from loading and unloading. Right? So these were the four elements of phloem. In the next class, we will be learning about the animal tissues.